You muted your mic. You can hear me now. Hi, Femi. Can you hear me? Hi, everyone. Good evening. Let's all confirm who can hear me, please. Hi, SA. I can see you in the comments. Hi, lands and houses. I can see you as well. Please let's confirm that we can hear me. Hi, Baban. Today you're welcome. Good evening. That's great to know that you can all hear me. We need two more persons, and we'll be starting. We'll be kicking off at exactly 4:06. So we just need two more persons to join in this stream. I will start. Our speaker is already backstage and she's ready to give us everything that she has for us. Hi everyone, I'm back. So I would love us to talk about our expectations for this webinar. What is the one thing that you want to leave here with today? Do we still have all of you here? And can anybody hear me? Hello. I'd love to hear your expectations for today's webinar. Lumide, I can see you in the comments as well, and you just dropped something. So, what's your expectation for this webinar today? What is the one thing that you're looking forward to taking on with you after now? Are we not feeling ourselves? Nobody is typing anything. Nobody wants to go home with something. Nobody has expectations for this webinar today. That's strange. Oh. Someone just said skills for financial growth. That's right. That's really very nice. That's one of the things I equally look forward to learning even as this webinar proceeds. So like I said earlier, we have our speaker backstage and she'll be joining us in the next few seconds. And before she joins us, I would love to introduce her to everyone over here. So her name is Demi. Temi is a finance coach and accountant with over 10 years of experience helping businesses across various sectors succeed financially. She's not a small woman. In the last 4 years, she has helped individuals improve their personal finances, save more efficiently, and get out of debt. She's a chartered accountant and member of the Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments. With a master's in professional accounting, among many other qualifications, including CMSA and FPWM from the Corporate Finance Institute. She's passionate about personal finance and committed to helping her clients reach their financial potential. Her book, The 10 Step Financial Plan, provides beginners with the tools and knowledge to manage their finances independently. She also offers several personal and group financial coaching programs. This is who we'll be having here with us today. And please, let's give a round of applause for Temi Egenti as she comes on stage. I want to see your emojis. I want to see your fire emojis. I want to see your hands clapping. Let's not be so quiet. Let's shout so everybody will know that, okay, there are people here that are ready to learn. Please, let's drum rolls for our speaker as she comes on. Hi, Temi.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please, can you confirm that you can hear our speaker for today?
I can hear you.
You're welcome. You're welcome to our webinar on cracking the money code. And I'm very excited about this because I've been looking forward to it for like the last week because I have a lot to learn. I just checked my money manager app recently and I found out that the larger percentage of my income in the month of June went to paying debt. And I'm like, we need to set ourselves up for financial success. And I'm really so excited to have you here with us. And I'm really looking forward to everything that you would have to give us. So let's hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here as well. So today we're supposed to be discussing a crucial topic, really, cracking the money code, how to stop struggling and increase your net worth. But if we're being honest, this is not a topic that can be concluded in 30 minutes. It can be concluded in a year. In fact, some people spend their whole lives trying to understand it. I'm a finance coach. I've been doing this for many years and I'm still learning every day. So, first of all, let's not expect that in the next 30 minutes we'll go from 0 to 100. It doesn't work that way. However, I'm going to, over the next few minutes, give us a few tips and I'm going to outline 7 pillars really. And if we're able to get these pillars right, we will be getting on our way to financial independence. So the idea is that if you're able to put these things in place in your life, it would help you get your finances into reasonable shape to enjoy your youth. Because to be honest, we're not just saving for retirement, so it's to enjoy our youth today, be able to live and do the things we want to do today, and have a lovely network at retirement. Uh, but I would like to have an idea of the audience we're working with first. So could you please put up the poll? A poll will be coming up, and it will give me an insight into the people listening today. That way, I'm kind of responding to things that you would be interested in hearing. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. So I'll be putting up some questions in the comment sections. Let's do it to respond to these questions as they would help our speaker to effectively talk about what she has for us today. Thank you all so much.
So while the questions are coming up, managing money effectively can have a significant impact on our lives, from increasing our net worth to providing financial stability and peace of mind. And in order to achieve these, there are 7 pillars I'll be aligning today. The first is goal setting, earning an income, values based budgeting, debt management, savings, investments, and personal finance risk management. But I'm waiting for the poll, and if it doesn't come up, if I don't get responses in a few minutes, I'll just dive in. Okay, so I'll just ask some questions, and maybe you guys could just put your responses in the chat real quick. Um, so the first question is, could you tell us how old you are? So give an age range between 2025, 25, 30. Give me an age range. How old are the people on the call today? Hello? Any more? I can see Ugo is 31, 20. Okay. Anyone else? And then could you also tell us, are you a student, employed, self-employed, or unemployed? Student, employed, self-employed, unemployed? Okay. So we have a relatively mixed audience here. I see we have someone who is closer to 55, and we have a student, we have someone who is employed. Are you married with children or single with children, whichever one? What's your marital status and your dependent status? Children, no children? So because we have a variety of people on the call, we have the someone who's 20 and we have someone who's 55. It means that we have a broad range of guests on the call today. Now, I'm going to try to give a relatively generic examples to help walk through the process, okay? So the first thing I would say everyone needs to have set in place is goal setting. So imagine coming out of your house and just walking aimlessly. And you're walking aimlessly, you don't know where you're going to. That's the same thing as not having a plan, not having a budget, not having a financial plan. If you just have money, you're making money, you're spending money, but you don't exactly have a plan for that money, it's like walking aimlessly for years. There's no purpose to it. So the first thing we have to do is have a goal. Thank you, Babatunde, married with children. Great. We have to have a goal. You need to know where your destination is. So you are here today, you're going somewhere, that's your goal. And everything else we do, all the other pillars are the things that get us from where we are to our goal. Okay? Now, your goals need to be smart. Smart means specific. A specific goal would be okay, so let's try using saving. A specific goal would be I want to have an emergency fund, right? Now, having an emergency fund, that's specific. It's a fund and it's for an emergency. Not just, oh, I want to have money. I want to have money is not a goal. Everyone wants money. I want to have an emergency fund. Great. It needs to be measurable. A measurable goal, oh, I want to have an emergency fund with 1 million naira in it. Now, that's something that you can measure. You can measure that, yes, I have achieved my goal because I have hit the 1 million mark. Yeah? It needs to be achievable. Is it something you can actually do? So for the student, for example, unless you have a side job while you're studying, chances are looking towards a 1 million goal now may not be realistic for you. You may want to set a 300,000 naira goal for a starter. So what's realistic for you? What's achievable for you? And then it needs to be relevant. Now, when people say they want to have an emergency fund, is do you need what are you having the emergency fund for? So an emergency fund is a blanket fund, right? And everybody should have one. But some people go a step further and decide that for themselves, they want to have an emergency fund targeted towards health related issues, for example. So if an emergency fund that you're creating, you just create an emergency fund, you don't really know what it's for, there's no relevance in it to you, it's a bit of a challenge. So, for example, a young person working, so let's use Babatunde as an example. Babatunde is married with children, he's over 50. A target of an emergency fund of 1 million may not necessarily be relevant to Babatunde. Why? With children, with a family, you probably need more than 1 million because should you not have a job today, you would need way more money to cope for a few months, right? On the other hand, QC, who is a student, an emergency fund of 100,000 could be relevant to him or her. I'm not sure if you're male or female. And then finally, it needs to be time bound. You need to have a specific time that you are targeting to achieve your goal. Do I want to achieve it in 6 months? Do I want to achieve it in 1 year? And this brings us back to achievable. If you're setting the target for a year, is it actually an achievable goal? Can you make that amount of money within a year? So you need to make sure that your goals are smart. They need to make sense to you. They need to be things you can measure, and they need to be things that you can work to over time. Now, your goals don't have to be just financial. I have this framework I use for my clients. It's called specific. So your goals are around key areas of your life. So your spiritual life, or I want to go to, some people actually want to go on a pilgrimage. That's something around their spiritual life, but it requires money, right? I want to be fit. So P is physical, which is your health, your exercising, I just want to be more elegant. I want to learn more. I want to get a better posture. I want to learn to be more composed. It's all about the P, right? So your physical being. E is for emotional. What emotional goals do you have? It could also be, what are your personal goals? These are things that are more about you, right? C is career. What are your career goals? I, intellectual. F, financial. The other I is interpersonal or social. And the final C is creative or cultural. What are your creative goals? What are your cultural goals? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want to learn a new language? Now, all these goals, you have your goals, and then you look at it. What are the financial implications of these goals? Now, that's the first step. You need to know all the things you want to achieve financially, right? That's your destination. You want to have, you're under your financial, you could say you want to have a retirement fund for when you retire, and you probably want to retire at 60, or you want to retire at 65, depending on your choice and the regulations in your country. So you have your target for when you want to retire. That is a time bound, that's the time that is linked to that retirement goal. So let's try to create a physical. Let me give an example of a financial goal. Um, I want to retire with 10 million naira at the age of 50, right? You have said what the goal is. You want to have a retirement fund. It's measurable. You want to have 10 million naira in it. It's achievable. Yes, because over the next, I'm in my mid 30s, so over the next 20 years, I should be able to achieve that, right? And then is it relevant though? Would 10 million naira be able to sustain me in my retirement? I don't think so. So going back to that goal, I need to go back to that goal. Is 10 million naira a realistic goal to set for myself to achieve at the age of 55? No. So I need to tweak it. Okay, how much do I need to retire? So this is just giving you a practical example to run through setting goals towards setting smart goals using the specific framework. Now, when you have these goals in place, the next thing, which is actually key, because there's no point making financial plans if you're not making money. So you need to make money. What are the ways you can make money? Some of us already have jobs. Now, is your job sufficient? Is it giving you all the income you need? Some people actually make enough money from their income and they don't need side jobs. And that is great. Those are the luckiest people I know. But some people, like QC, who is a student, would probably need to start doing a little thing here and there while he or she's studying. QC, I'm going to assume you are male, unless you tell me otherwise. So QC would need to start maybe doing a little thing in school while he's studying, right? And while he has that side, he's also studying. Studying is his main job right now. Oh, great. QC is female. So maybe QC has a knack for, oh, I don't know. Maybe she likes teaching. She could actually, and maybe there's a secondary school attached to her university. And she can decide to have a side job there as a tutor, right? So in the evenings, she tutors the kids and some of the students in the area, and she gets paid for it. Now she's already building an income and she's studying. Ugo is a female, she's single, so she can spend sometimes, okay, well, you know what? I make enough money doing what I do now, so no need. Or she could also decide, you know what, I need more money and have an additional job to whatever she's doing at this time, which gives her additional stream of income. Now, you can either increase your income or you can simply upskill. There's something called entrepreneurship. This is something that a lot of people actually benefit from. When you're working in a private company, let's say, okay, so let me use myself as an example. I work in finance and I manage the loans, right? I can decide that maybe I want to be more relevant in the company because I want to be more noticed and I want a promotion or something. So I start doing additional trainings. And okay, so what's relevant today? Say sustainability. I start doing trainings on sustainability, trying to build myself in that area. Now, if this is something my company is not currently doing, becoming a subject matter expert in that means that I could come to the forefront in the company and be the person everyone is asking. So what do we do next? Tell me, what do we do next? What are we doing on this? That is entrepreneurship. That is you building your skill, upskilling yourself to become, more relevant where you're working, thereby giving yourself more opportunities for increased income. The point is, in the long run, you're looking for as much money as you can get from either the job you're doing today or a new job or a side job. Yes? Now, so we've talked about goal setting and we talked about making money, which is key. If you don't make money, you can't save. The next thing we need to look at is budgeting. Now, the first budgeting is another, like I said, budgeting is a big ticket item, right? It goes from reviewing your expenses. How do you spend money today? Are you spending within your means? Are you spending more than you earn? Are you spending just what you earn and not leaving enough for savings? You need to do that check. So review your spend pattern and then create a budget based on your values. So let me give an example of this. If so recently I was having a conversation with someone about planning a trip, and the first thing that occurred to me, I could book a certain kind of hotel, hotel available. I'll be comfortable, but I wouldn't necessarily have the fun that I want to have on that trip, right? Because what I want to achieve, I really just want to go lounge by the water, have a good time. Now, that is what I want to achieve. But I find that I'm thinking about money and, oh gosh, that's so expensive. Why don't I spend like a sixth of the amount on something cheaper, save a lot more money, and put it towards something else? Now, the same me goes shopping and decides I want to buy some things for the house, and I pick anything on the shelf. As I literally go around and I'm just going, and no budget, no list. I'm just picking from all the aisles, and I come home with things. The pantry is full. It was full before I went shopping. It's fuller now. In fact, there's no space. I'm having to maybe put some things on the floor by the corner because there's no space for the new things I just bought. And we're not using them, right? We're not using those things in the house because no one wants them. I have basically wasted money on things that I don't need, while I could have spent saved money on the things I didn't need or I didn't really value, and then pushed it towards something that I really wanted. In the end, you may end up spending the same amount, but you have limited yourself. You're not enjoying the things you want because, oh, it's a big expense. You're thinking about savings. While the little things that actually add up to more money than you would have spent on that trip, you've wasted it on things that you don't really care about. So think about it. What are the things that you value? What are the things that are important to you? Those are the things that you should be spending more money on. And then the things that are not important to you, you don't spend money on them. Yes? Have a budget. So tell me, oh, I want to save, I want to be able to save at least 10% of my salary every month. Great. And this client goes off, comes back the next month. So how much have you saved? Um, Actually, it was a one-off client. So the person books another session. And I'm like, okay, so great. Since the last time we saw, how much have you saved? And she's like, I'm not sure. I think I have like an additional 1% in my savings. Why couldn't you save 10%? I don't know. Everything is just so expensive. I can't afford to save it. Everything I've had. Okay, so tell me, what did you buy last month? Give me a list of your expenses. And she could only list out about 30 to 40% of what she spent money on. I think at that point she realized that having a plan was important to her, but not just having a plan, but also following through on the plan. You can have a budget. You can have a budget for the next 10 years and never use it. The budget is just you making plans, but when the money actually comes in, you still, go ahead with whatever your spirit leads at the time. So you need to have a budget and then live within the budget. Now, these are the key ways to, get money. But now, what about the managing of the money? Let's think about this debt management. Our host said today that she looked at her funds last month and found out that she had spent a lot of it on paying debt. I keep saying this, and I'll say it again: debt is not bad. Debt is not good. Debt is just useful, and it's only used as leverage, or you can use it to live a life that is not necessary. So imagine this scenario where you earn 500,000 a month. Now these are This is a comfortable amount to live off, to be honest, and you can save significantly off it. So you earn 500,000 a month, and you're spending about 600 to 700,000 a month on living. You're basically accruing debt over time, and maybe by the end of 3 months, you already have like 600K in debt. You're owing people, you can't afford to pay them because you're living over your means. Now, that's one scenario. The other scenario is you earn 500,000 a month and you decide you want to buy a rental apartment. You take a loan from a bank for the non-equity portion, because for real estate you have to have equity, right? You take a loan from the bank and you buy this house, and then you renting it, and every month the mortgage, the interest on the loan plus the principal you have to pay monthly is, say, 20,000, for example. That 20,000 over 12 months is 240,000, and the rents that you're collecting on the house is 300,000. What you're basically doing is paying off the loan on the house and still having some money left in your pocket of that fund. Now, that is debt as leverage. So these are two different types of debts, right? So we want to make sure that we are not taking debt to live off. We want to make sure that any debt we have is to build an asset, is to pay for an asset. With that in mind, debt is not necessarily bad, right? But we cannot live off debt. We can make money off debt, but we can't live off debt. So if you have debt, which if you have debt right now, it's not getting you any money, you're literally just crying every month trying to pay it, you need to come up with a payment plan immediately. There are different ways you can pay off debts. There are so many methods. I can't go into that in this session, but there are several methods you can use to pay off debt. And it's important that you have a plan immediately. Set up a target amount that you're paying off every month and start paying it off. Because the more money you owe, the more money you take out from your savings. If you're targeting paying 20,000 every month, bear in mind that debt usually comes with interest. So you're paying more than you actually collected. That money you're paying every month reduces how much you have free to save. Okay, the next thing we'll look at is savings. Now you've managed your debts, you've managed everything else. Now you need to have savings. Savings is different from investment. So I'm going to talk about savings and investment in tandem. Savings is money that you've kept aside for a short period of time. It's money that you've kept aside for an emergency fund, for example. An emergency fund basically is any money that helps you cope when you really need money in the interim, right? So for someone who your car breaks down, it's not something you budget for. Your car breaking down is not a standard budget. So when that happens, your emergency fund comes in. It helps you pay off whatever you need to pay off at the time. So that's an emergency fund, yes? So you can have savings for an emergency fund. You can have target savings. So an amount you put aside for a particular goal. So remember the goals we talked about at the beginning. Say you want to write a bunch of professional exams. They're not cheap, especially foreign ones. You need to probably save money towards it. So it could be a target goal. That amount of money that you're setting aside could be a goal saving. Yeah. Putting that money aside is a target fund. That's a target savings. Sorry, the lights just went off and the inverter is down. So it's dark here. That's why my video has been off. I hope the light comes back on before we're done. So that's savings. Investments, on the other hand, are targeted towards long-term expenses. So let's see, you are retiring in a few years. You are not going to do, obviously, you're not going to have a stock market investment, for example. But let's look at investments now. Investments are funds that we keep aside for longer term goals. An investment is something that is not as liquid. When we say liquid, we mean something that can be turned into cash immediately. So an investment is not as liquid as your savings. Your savings is more liquid. So your savings will probably be in a money market account or something like that. But your investments will be set aside in stocks, real estate, things that would be, that have longer lead terms. Yeah. So your savings should be in an account that you can access it quickly. Again, money market fund, fixed your normal bank account, not necessarily fixed deposits, unless it's a target savings. So a target savings, you know that you don't need it for the next 6 months. You could probably have it in a fixed deposit or something like that. Now, when you're looking at investments, you need to consider the investments. You need to consider the time duration. You need to time duration is how long do you need to keep the money away for. If you need your funds back in a year, in 2 years, do not put them in investments. Put them in savings or shorter term. So there are shorter term things like money markets are considered investments, but they are more liquid, so you can put them in that. Now, investments are things like fixed stock market, bonds, real estate. We have stock market, bonds, real estate. You can even put them commercial papers. Again, commercial papers are time bound, so it's kind of like your fixed deposits. There are different ways to invest your funds. Even when you're looking at the stock market, there are different kinds of stocks. You have ETFs, you have bonds, so many things to invest, even in the stock market, right? Fixed income investments. There's so many vehicles to invest. The key things to consider when choosing an investment are your risk tolerance. So, how much risk can you really take? If you're going to invest in the stock market, you need to be ready for the up and down in it. Yeah. The kind of portfolio you want to maintain. Do you, for example, want to have are you someone who has certain values and you don't want to invest in certain kind of companies, or you don't want to invest in certain kind of businesses? You need to consider that as well. I know a lot of religious people, especially Muslims and some Christians, have key things that they will never be involved in. So Muslims, for example, not be involved in beer companies. So if it's a beer company stock, a fixed income note they are not getting involved. So those values you would also take into consideration. Now, if you are employed, if you are gainfully employed, let's use that word, you most likely have a pension. That is also an investment, but that is an investment you don't control. However, you need to know how your pension works. You need to know what the PFA is using your funds for. So if you're in Nigeria, there are 4 different kinds of funds. I know the Islamic fund is coming out soon, so there'll be 5, right? So different kinds of funds that you can put your money in. You want to be sure of what fund your money is in, and are you comfortable with the level of risk that fund will be taking? That's something you would want to know. However, you don't really have that much control outside choosing the fund you want to be in. You don't have that much control over your pension until you retire or until you're close to retirement. But when it comes to investing, it is very important to seek professional help. Speak to a financial coach, speak to a financial planner. In fact, you can just go into a bank and ask for someone who can advise you on a package to get. But note that when you go into the bank, they probably are trying to sell a product. So they would more likely sell something they have as opposed to something that may necessarily benefit you. Yeah. So that is investments. And finally, I can't believe I've actually gotten through 7 of them. Finally, personal finance risk management. Now, this is kind of an umbrella here. This is looking at, look, life is full of uncertainties and things will happen that we don't plan for. You could fall ill significantly. I'm not talking of the everyday malaria that you can take anti-malaria from your pharmacy and you're fine. Significant illnesses. And you need to have something in place. Now, there are different kinds of ways we mitigate the risks that come in life that could cost us way more money than we planned. Insurance, for example. Health insurance is something a lot of us take for granted, but it has saved a lot of lives. I have once had food poisoning, ordinary food poisoning. You would think it's ordinary, but I was hospitalized for a week. Now, that could have been something that seemed ordinary. I was uncomfortable for a few days and I was fine. Turns out it was way more serious and I had to be hospitalized for 5 days. My HMO paid every penny. I didn't pay a dime. My medical cost came to about 200 and something thousand that year. And my HMO fund was 240 a year. So I literally, in one hospital visit, used all the money I had put aside in the HMO for the year. Of course, this was through my company. Everyone who works should have an HMO. Most companies have HMOs. So find out if yours has. And if yours doesn't have, there are cheap HMOs these days. You can pay as little as, I think there's the one that has 20,000 now. Again, you can consult for these things, but get health insurance. It's very important. There are other kinds of insurance. There's travel insurance. I traveled recently and lost my wedding ring. If I had gotten travel insurance for that trip, I wouldn't be as upset as I am today because the insurance will literally just pay me back whatever it costs to get a new one. So that's another type of insurance. There's fire insurance to protect your house. That way, if there's a fire, you're not thinking about how to literally start buying every single. Imagine a fire taking down your house. That's everything you own, including your personal certificates, your, basically everything that's important to you. So some form of insurance is very important, even for fire as well. The other thing you should have is an emergency fund. If there's an emergency, my car breaking down is not something that insurance will pay for. I would need to pay cash for it. Now imagine if without my car I can't get to work because I live in a very remote area. Having an emergency fund is something that would help me fix that car quickly. Imagine having to take a loan. When you take a loan, you're paying interest on that loan. It becomes more expensive. Meanwhile, if you had an emergency fund, you were getting interest on that money, and now you're just spending a portion of what you had in there before. So, an emergency fund is also important. Estate planning, retirement planning. We have some people who are closer to retirement here. If you're over 50, you're closer to retirement. Retirement planning is another way to, is another risk management method. How much do you plan to leave off when you retire? How much do you currently have? What do you need to do to get to that goal? Again, this is another goal that we've mentioned in the beginning. I want to retire at this age, and this is how much I need. And I need to now start working towards getting that amount. And finally, in anything you do, make sure you're diversified. Don't put all your money in one bank account. Don't put all your money in one investment portfolio. Spread it out and get a financial coach. Experts are not just there to, we're not there to take your money. Experts are there to actually help you make the best of your financial situation. I have a client, well, she is now a client, good for her. So a few months back, I had this lady who I spoke to, and she was trying to get her money in order. So I said, fine, let's do this. And I helped her put her money in some funds. And then she comes back and is like, "Ugh, I've not checked this thing in a few months." So we check it. And she has made about, I think, about 8% profit over the last 7 months at the time we checked. And I'm like, great. So now come pay for financial coaching so I can do more for you. And she's like, how much? I told her, she's like, that much. No, now, don't worry. It's too expensive. I'll just continue what I'm doing. And then I ask her, look at how much you've just made. Is it up to what I've charged? I think my, compared to what she had made once, my charge is about 30% of what she had made. And I said, imagine if you sat down for coaching, we did a more detailed look into your finances, and detailed it all out and put your funds in even better assets that helped you make more money. And then it makes sense to her, thinking about how much money she had made and how much it would have cost her. It doesn't cost so much to get a financial coach, but it saves you a lot of stress, because the amount of work that you have to do to learn these things for yourself and the amount of mistakes you will make in the process of learning it for yourself will be more expensive than what you'll be paying a finance coach. So I think we should take questions now, because it may help me target things that people are more interested in as opposed to the general brief I've tried to give. Ugo, yes, you are right. Yeah, you never saw it as being inclusive of self-development. Yes, so that's intrapreneurship. So entrepreneurship is you're going outside, starting a new business. Intra, which is INTRA, preneurship, is building yourself up, kind of building a niche for yourself where you're working today. That is entrepreneurship. It's you, okay, so I'm working in this company. What can I do in this company that makes me stand out above my colleagues? That is something that is also very helpful, especially if you're not everybody's built to have a business, to be honest. Okay, so I'll take questions now.
This is the time where we get to ask all the burning questions that we have. So if you have things that you'd want more clarity on, things that you'd love her to touch on, kindly comment in the comment section and she's going to answer your questions.
Okay. Specific goals, right? So specific S spiritual. So this is, what spiritual goals do you have? Are you someone who, so let's say one of my spiritual goals is to be closer to God. What do I need to do to be closer to God? Do my devotion, go to church. That's kind of standard. It doesn't necessarily cost me much money. So I may not focus on the financial side of it, but it is a life goal. And there's nothing wrong with planning your life goals while trying to also plan your money. It's a two for one, right? But maybe you want to go on a pilgrimage that will cost you some money. So that's a spiritual goal. P is for physical. Physical, your health, you want to lose weight. That's one of that has been my P for forever. Physical, lose weight, eat healthy. It could even be, oh, I want to change my wardrobe. That's still, about your physical appearance. I want to change my clothing. How do I go about it? Maybe you buy two clothes every month. How much would that cost? Over time, you built up in your wardrobe, whatever. It's what matters to you. So P is physical. E is for emotional or personal. So what are the personal goals you have? What emotional goals do you have? Are you someone who's dealing with uh you're not there are some people who are not very confident. For example, if an emotional goal if a personal goal you're trying to work on is to build your confidence, what do you need to do? I know some people get a confidence coach, or you could say, I just want to be better. I want to know myself better. I want to understand who I am better. There are coaches who actually help with that. That will cost some money. It could be anything. It's all about personal. What is personal to you? C is for your career. So what career goals do you have and where do you want to go career wise? What will cost you money? So for example, I want to become a sustainability expert. That is probably going to cost me some studying time, some certifications, for example. What's the financial implication of that? I is for interpersonal. So the first I is for intellectual, the second is interpersonal. So intellectual, um, maybe you want to do a particular course, maybe you want to do a master's degree, maybe you want to get a certification. What are the implications of that? Financial, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows what financial is. Oh, I want to retire at 60 and I want to have $1 million in the account. That's a financial goal. The next I is for interpersonal or social. I want to network a bit more this year. I want to go out of my comfort zone and meet with other people. Maybe I would need to travel to Lagos. I don't live in Lagos. I need to travel to Lagos to attend a few conferences or to meet other people who are my peers. That's interpersonal. Or maybe I just need to hang out with my girlfriends a bit more. That will cost me paying some money for a night at the bar. That's money. Those are goals. You plan for it. The last one, C, is for cultural or creative. I want to travel more. I want to see the world. I want to write a book. I probably need to get some training to be a better writer, or I've written a book. I need to get a publisher. That's a C. Okay. The next question I see here is, I love the talk on investment. How can one set money aside for investing? Like what percentage of one's income? Okay, so you earn between 50 to 100,000. First of all, I would say this: setting aside a percentage for investment is not an ideal. And this is why. You earn between 50 and 100,000. So let's say you earn 50,000. 10% of that is 5,000. Someone earns 2 million. 10% of that is 200,000. Sorry, it's 100,000. No, 200,000. I was right. Now, the person's your 5,000 and the person's 200,000. Obviously, 200,000 is more. But does that person really need 1.8 million naira every month to live? They probably don't. So using a flat percentage doesn't necessarily work. In your income stream, you need to look at it. What is your cost of living? A realistic cost of living. Because let's be honest, you can only save so much. At some point, you need to find a way to increase your income. If you are not eating, it literally takes you that 100,000 to feed and go to work. And this is not luxury feeding or luxury transportation. It's literally the bare bones. Then even if you are setting aside 1%, you still won't be able to. So, of course, there's the looking at your expenses. What can you realistically take out? What is the realistic amount that you can afford to save and still stay alive to spend it later on? Because there's no point suffering and dying from ill health and then not being able to spend your savings. So no one size fits all. There's no one standard percentage. How can you go about setting the money aside? You start small. What can you afford to set aside now? Do you have a budget? You need to have a budget. You need to look at your budget and make it as lean as you possibly can within reason. With this level of income, you don't really have much room for a lot of luxuries, unfortunately. So you need to make it as lean as you possibly can, and whatever you can afford to save. Yes, there's a standard save 10%, and maybe you can start with that if you need a percentage to help you set a goal for yourself. So now this will now be a personal target. Your personal target could be save 10% every month, get a money market account, put the funds in it. If you need more help in getting money market account, you can reach out to me on my in my DM. Get a money market account, start saving gradually. Money market accounts take as little as 2,000, some of them, some 5,000. And just start putting money aside gradually. Before you know it, it goes up. And the higher you have, then you can become a bit more, expanded in the type of investments you do. As a student, what investments can I dive into? Also, how does insurance work? Insurance is different for different people. The kind of insurance you need differs depending on your situation in life and what you want to cover. So again, you need to consult. You need to ask. You need to speak to a coach and probably an insurance broker to understand what you would need. In terms of investments, for everybody, the minimum you need to have is a money market account. That's the minimum. If you start from there, you can gradually build up to other things. So start with a money market account, and then you can start looking into, depending on your age, your risk appetite, how long you have to be able to keep money aside. You can then start looking at things like stock market, real estate. Right now there are different ways to go into real estate. You don't even have to buy a whole house anymore. So there are smaller ways to invest. But again, this is all dependent on your personal situation. Thank you all for the session. Do I join late? So all of these that you mentioned, do jointly do them, or okay, so I guess this is a question for you jointly.
Hi, Fortune. So, jointly, like she has rightly said, there are different investment options. She talked about stocks, she talks about bond, and then she talked about real estate. Now, where jointly come in is the real estate function. We help you to invest in real estate without having to have plenty money. A lot of persons have the notion that when you want to invest in real estate, you have to have so much funds for you to be able to do that. Now, jointly helps you with fractionalization, where you get to become a co-owner with other properties, with some persons in a property. And like you said, we currently have just one property on the jointly website, and we are launching another very soon. So you can kindly reach out to us on our social media platform, and we'll be glad to answer all of the questions that you have. So I'll be looking forward to get a message from you so that I can be able to effectively answer the questions you have. I don't know if this helps for now or if I should continue elaborating on it. Kindly let me know in the comment section. Thank you. We just lost our speaker. Guess it's network. Hopefully she comes in. Okay, she's back.
Apologies, my network went out. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. If you can hear her, kindly post the comments below. So tell me, we want to know how can we reach out to you on um for other investment options. Someone asked a question, how can they reach out to you? What are investment options? What are the platforms with which we can reach you if we want to get to talk to you about investments and personal finance? Hi Temi, did you get that? Hi. Yes, our network is bad and she cannot hear me. So while we wait for her to come back on, I'd love us to share some of our favorite takeaways from a session so far, like a line you got or an advice you got and you think you are going to be working with it going forward, even as you build financial stability and independence. I'm looking forward to hearing your comments, or rather reading your comments in the comment section. So kindly let us know your one takeaway from the session so far. Okay. Take away whatever you do, diversify your investments. That's absolutely correct. I know somebody that invested all of his money in crypto, and when the crypto crash happened, he almost committed suicide because he didn't have other investment options to cushion his fall. And also, we have to have a financial plan to avoid overspending or spending carelessly. So this morning, I was going through Twitter and I saw someone. He was asking he was asking his friends how he could do something about his finances. That is spending impulsively, and he doesn't like it, so he wants to know what he can do. And I had to go check the comment section, and I saw people giving him advice like he should use a particular rule, like 50-30-20 rule, so he can keep out 50% of his income for is essential needs, more like rent, electricity, transportation, like 30% for enjoyment. So let's say anything that has to do with social gathering or anything, you can keep at 30%. And equally, he should keep 20% for his savings. Yes, he should save 20% of his income. And furthermore, someone also talked about him using a specific app to be able to manage his daily spending. And that is something I equally do. So when at the end of the day I open my savings app or like my money tracker app and I track how much I've been able to spend daily. And as I go through this morning, I had to go through everything I've spent so far, and I saw how my income was being shared across different places. And I knew that okay, there were things that I needed to stop. And as of this morning, I have set a financial goal to also stop impulsive buying and try as much as possible to spend on the things that were going to really help me because I think just 4% of my income went to buying books or courses, which I know I'm supposed to get a book every time I need to learn about something. So it's really important that we get to have a financial plan to avoid overspending or spending carelessly. And a financial plan can be as little as not spending impulsively. It doesn't have to be so grand, like save 1 million naira. For some persons, when they have very grand goals like that, it becomes hard for them to go about it. And then another one, start building on your entrepreneurship. This is very nice to go. So you have to do the whole personal development thing so that you can become very valuable in whatever place that you find yourself. She talked about savings, and I think one of the most important thing I got from the whole thing she talked about savings and investment was to spend on what's important to me and also to budget, have a budget. Now, I think in the last 3 months, I've not really had a budget, so I've just been spending anyhow. I remember this morning I want to buy sunscreen. I remember, oh, I need to buy this thing. I want to buy this one, and I have my money scattered across different places that I cannot really account for. So it's good that we are able to have a budget and equally save. And on savings, I have my view on savings is that sometimes it's not about having money. You just you lacking financial discipline. So you have money, and then you have to tell yourself that okay, I need to put this particular money aside every time I need to every time I earn, and it helps you. For me, it's 10% of my income. Sometimes it's 15%, and I'm trying to increase it to 30% to see what happens. Our speaker is back.
Apologies, the network situation is really crazy today.
It's fine. You're welcome back.
I hope I
So
don't
we're
get
just
cut.
sharing our key takeaways from the session, and a lot of people have really gained a lot of insight. So Babantunde said there's no rigid percentage to how much you should save. Decide and maintain a savings culture. Now, this is very important. I had an argument with a friend this morning because I also talked about the 50, 30, 20 rule. And I'm like, he said that it's 20% not too much, not too little to save. And I'm like, each man to his own. Some persons have very small income, and you don't expect them to take 30% or 40% of their income because they want to save. So it's just good to like pick a percentage that you can maintain so that it can help you build a savings culture. So tell me, we wanted to know how we can reach you, the best way to reach you. So someone said that you should post your social media handles or the best places to reach you. Is it on Instagram,
So
your
I can't
email?
post in the comment section. I can't post.
Okay, you can send me a message and I will do that.
Yeah, so this is my Instagram handle, Financial Literacy with Temi. You can reach me via that, or you can send an email to flwithtemi@gmail.com. Any of those two ways you can reach me. Sin?
Yes, send. So tell me, what are your last okay giveaways for us? What are the last things you'd love to come on, even as we come to the end of this session?
Okay, so one thing I would say is there's nothing wrong with asking for help when you need help. There are expensive and affordable help depending on what you need. Um, you can reach you can start with I have a book which I wrote recently. The book is in re-edits, and anyone who buys will get the revised copy when it's out. You can purchase that book. It's a 10-step financial plan. It's a step-by-step guide to building your financial plan. It would help you go through the whole goal setting, calculating your net worth, managing your debt, looking into your savings, and even dissecting your income. One mistake a lot of people make when they're talking about their income is that they just look at their monthly salary. Some companies actually give you additional allowances like 13th month. You have some that get leave allowance. You have some people who get paid a certain bonus at a certain time. All of these add up to your income. Now, something I heard recently, I think it was Coach Hilda who mentioned this. Someone went to negotiate a job, and they asked them what's your monthly income, and they told them, oh, I earn 500,000 a month. So the new job based their salary on 500 and said, okay, we'll give you 550, and the person felt they were getting a good deal, and they left their old job and went to this new place, only to find out that this new job did not pay some of the allowances that their old company paid. They ended up losing quite a bit. Okay, the link to my book will be so they ended up losing quite a bit of money, right? So you want to make sure that you look at your income holistically. What do you earn in a year as opposed to just monthly? It's very useful for planning. Your budget should not just be a monthly budget. You should actually have a 12-month budget. Now, the reason for this is again, your income can be sporadic in some places. Having a budget that shows your whole line of income. There's a template that comes with a book, which will also help you with this. Having a budget that shows your all your lines of income for the year and your expenses. Some expenses are bulk at some place sometimes. For example, house rent in Nigeria is paid annually, not monthly. When do you pay your rent? You spend more money then, right? So you want to target having more cash in that period. So you need to save money during the other periods to fill in that pot at the right time. There's There are so many things to consider, honestly, and we can have this conversation every day for the next 2 years, and there'll still be something new to say. So, for a start, get a financial plan, start budgeting. That is a very good base to start on. The moment you get very good with your everyday financial management, everything else kind of gets better. And then the next thing is to start looking at saving and investing.
Okay,
Avoid
thank you
debt if
very
you can. But if you take debt, take it for
much.
an income generating assets. Thank you.
So the moment you start getting good with your daily financial life, everything falls into place. And I think I can testify to that. So we've come to the end of this very amazing session. It was nice to have all of you here. Thank you, Ugo. Thank you, Babatunde. Thank you, Osi. Thank you, Fortune. Lumide, you're amazing. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, everybody that joined in. Thank you, jointly, for bringing Temi. And thank you, Temi, for being our host, being our speaker, being our guest. It was so amazing having you on this call, and we hope to have more sessions with you even in the future.
I
So,
like that. Thank
once
you.
again, let's drum roll for our speaker. Let's clap our hands, put the fire emoji. It's not been easy talking for the last 30 minutes, and then she did it. So, please clap, 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 clap. I'm leading by example. I'm clapping. So every other person, I want to see your hand. Let's say thank you, Temi. Isn't only Ugo that is here to clap for our speaker?
Thank you for having me, and I hope to speak to you
It was nice
guys.
having you around, Temi. We look forward to seeing you again.
All right.
You're
Bye
welcome.
bye.
Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye,
You too.
everyone.
Bye.